What, according to Showalter, are the two distinct variations of feminist literary criticism? Examine her ideas on gynocritics and the female culture. Marks 10-12. Answer. Elaine Showalter's Towards a Feminist Poetics, 1979, is a valuable asset to feminist literary criticism. In her attempt to develop a clearly articulated feminist literary theory, Showalter has proposed a separate and independent model of feminist literary theory by rejecting the inevitability of male models and theories. She divides her female models into two types. 1. Feminist critique exposing women as readers. 2. Gynocritics presenting women as writers. Feminist critique, it focuses on a woman as a reader, a consumer of male-produced and male-oriented texts. It probes the engendered ideological assumptions of literature. Its subjects include the images and stereotypes of women in literatures, the omissions and misconceptions about women in criticism, and the fissures in male-constructed literary theory. It evaluates the sexual codes of the literary text and explores how the hypothetics of a female reader affects an assessment of meaning. According to Showalter, feminist critique is essentially political and polemical and is metaphorically similar to the Old Testament, looking for the sins and errors of the past. In her delineations, Showalter exposes a couple of problems with feminist critique. A. It is male-oriented, meaning that, in some sense, every feminist critique, even when criticizing patriarchy, is focused towards the male. B. It tends to naturalize women's oppression by focusing on it. It also gives victimization an allure, by making it the inevitable and obsessive topic of discussion. Gynocritics, as an alternative, Showalter presents gynocritics as a way to construct a female framework for the analysis of woman's literature, to develop new models based on the study of female experience. According to her, gynocritics is concerned with woman as writer, with woman as the producer of textual meaning, with the history, themes, genres, and structures of literature by women. Its subject includes the psychodynamics of female creativity, linguistics, and the problems of a female language. It also deals with the trajectory of the individual or collective female literary career, literary history, and the studies of particular writers and works. According to Showalter, gynocritics is more self-contained and experimental and is like the New Testament, seeking the grace of imagination. Thus, Showalter is more inclined to gynocritics in order to develop a literature of their own. Showalter opines that gynocritics begins at the point where we free ourselves from the linear absolutes of male literary history, stop trying to fit women between the lines of the male tradition, and focus instead of the newly visible world of female culture. According to Showalter, in some women's literature, as in their subculture, feminine values penetrate and undermine the masculine systems that contain them. And this is why many woman writers have imaginatively engaged the myths of the Amazons, and fantasize a separate female society, in genres from Victorian poetry to contemporary science fiction. She goes on to argue that attention to woman writers of the past means attention to the sociological substructures that they inhabited, the economic, moral and psychological pressures they faced, and the strategies for survival and for self-expression which they adopted. Only then, Showalter opines, woman's literature of the past can be read clearly. Showalter believes that before we go on to ask how woman's literature would be different and special, gynocritics must take up the task of the recovery of a female literary history and tradition. Rather than just reading the prominent women writers, gynocritics must try to discover the scores of woman novelists, poets, and dramatists whose work has been obscured by time, and to establish the continuity of the female tradition. Finished. Please subscribe to the channel for more updates of ready-made notes on English literature. Also, please share this channel to help any student pursue a degree in English literature. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please do not forget to like and comment.